Welcome to today's session of the Launch and Learn series. Launch and Learn is a bi-weekly program where each staff gets to train people on topics relating to our industry. Today is your first time joining us, you are welcome. Aderinola Amoda, our head, people and culture, will be facilitating today's session on the topic, the future of work, trends shaping the workplace. Over to you, Darren.
Thank you, Praise, and good afternoon once again, everybody. It's good to be here again to facilitate this session of Launch and Learn. So today, as Praise had earlier mentioned, we will be speaking about future of work and then speak also the trends shaping the workplace. I would encourage us to pay rapt attention and gain as much knowledge and insight on this discourse today. Okay, so this session we will be speaking about the outlines here, which would include introduction to future of work. Under this, we'll be speaking about the rapidity of change and the complexity. We would also speak on what the future of work looks like post-COVID. Then we'd also speak on the global trends that change the workplace landscape. We'd also dwell on how we can really adapt. How do we adapt to these trends? Under this, we'll be speaking on enhancing workforce productivity, important issues organizations need to pay attention to now. We would also dwell on the 4H approach to how we can adapt. We'll speak on the LACE framework to how we can adapt, and then the language of the new normal. And thereafter, we would have a conclusion on this discussion. Now, moving on, I would start this session by taking us to a quote made mention of by Kenneth Chenault. He says, "It's not the strongest or the most intelligent who survives, but those most adaptive to change." Over the past 10 years, the need for and focus on adaptability has accelerated. Moving on, we'll speak on the introduction to the future of work. Here, the future of work simply represents a transformative shift in how, where, and why we work. It has so far been shaped by advances in technology, evolving workforce, values, and new business models. This change is a sweeping evolution that challenges the traditional boundaries of where, when, and how work has often happened. Now, this rapidly evolving concept touches nearly every aspect of how business operates and how people really engage in their professions. At its main core, the future of work represents a new era, one that reimagines the traditional approach to productivity, collaboration, and organizational culture. It requires us to rethink and often rebuild the way we view roles, relationship, and our responsibilities at work. Now, here we would also move on to speak about the rapidity of change, what the context of this change in itself is. The rapidity of change. Under the rapidity of change, we will be speaking on the VUCA versus VUCA plus. Now, VUCA here is an acronym, right? VUCA is an acronym that means volatile, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Now, understanding these concepts is very essential to navigating the rapid changes and the complex environment that we operate in today. Originally, this specific concept, VUCA, was developed by the US military. And then it describes the chaotic and unpredictable conditions of the modern world. And it has since been adopted by businesses to explain the fast-paced and the complex nature of today's work landscape. Now, while we speak about VUCA, then while we were still dwelling on VUCA, then we have VUCA 2.0, which came in thereafter, right? So VUCA 2.0 is like, it emphasizes on the positive qualities that would counterbalance each of the challenges that was brought about by VUCA. Now let's even dwell on what this VUCA is all about. Let's have an idea of let's have an in-depth knowledge of what it represents, what it means, right? So moving on, we'll speak about VUCA here. VUCA is a framework for the modern world. So we'll be speaking about it side by side, the VUCA 2.0 or VUCA Plus. So VUCA is a framework for the modern world, why VUCA 2.0 is like the framework that would help us evolve to thrive in this modern world. Now, speaking about VUCA, we said it means volatility. This refers to the speed and magnitude of change in the business environment. Now, in a volatile market, conditions can shift unexpectedly due to different factors like technological disruption, global crisis, rapid innovation. And of course, with all of this, companies, organizations would need agility to manage these fast changing circumstances. Then another framework under VUCA, that's the U letter, symbolizes uncertainty, right? And then the future events are often unclear, and traditional ways of predicting outcomes are less reliable, and then consumer behaviors, competitive landscapes are constantly evolving, making it very difficult to, plan long term with certainty. Now we also have complexity. Complexity refers to the numerous interconnected factors that play in today's global business environment, including the regulatory frameworks, technological advancements, cultural dynamics, and because of this modern world and the changes, decision making becomes more challenging as leaders must consider multiple layers of impact. Then we have ambiguity, and this simply refers to the fact that information is most often incomplete or contradictory, and this makes it difficult to interpret situations, and most of the time, rapidly changing norms, cultural shifts, and conflicting signals usually cause business leaders to be unsure of the right path forward, thereby causing an ambiguous situation. Now, speaking of VUCA, which comes as a some sort of solve, which focuses on strategic responses speaking of VUCA Plus now, which focuses on strategic responses and emphasizes positive qualities that counterbalance each of the challenges that has been brought by the VUCA world. We believe that it would serve as a guide toward proactive mindset and better equipped organizations and teams. Now, the VUCA 2.0 comes with vision for volatility, right? In a world where volatility is constant, a clear, compelling vision can anchor an organization. So, by focusing on a well-defined purpose, organizations can align and drive cohesion, providing a steady direction, even in times of significant change. And then we have understanding for uncertainty. So where the situation for uncertainty arises, deep insights into markets, trends, technological advances would usually help to reduce or mitigate uncertainty. And therefore we are encouraged to foster we are encouraged to be curious, and prioritize research and also embrace diverse perspectives just to build a better understanding of the complex forces impacting our organization, our world, or our businesses. Then we have clarity for complexity. Now, to navigate complexity, organizations would usually aim to simplify decision-making processes, and it's very expedient to streamline communication and clarify roles and responsibilities. Then we also have agility, and agility here is for ambiguity. Agility enables companies to pivot and adapt when faced with ambiguity. And this emphasizes very fast responses and quick processes and a culture of innovation, which helps to move toward confidently, which helps us to move forward confidently, even when information is not complete. Now, moving on, I believe we've been able to have a good knowledge of what the vocal and the vocal 2.0 is all about. So the vocal world is what we are in at the moment. And then the VUCA 2.0 is an innovation to help us to thrive in this modern world. Now, moving on, we would be speaking on what the future of work really does look like post-COVID, what it looks like post-COVID. Firstly, we would speak on accelerated trends. What has happened after this period? What were the major trends that came up, swiftly after this period? We came to what is very much known as remote. We came to know what is very much as remote working. Yes, it has been even before then, but then it was spoken of at a very minor scale. But right now, post COVID, we get to hear a lot about remote working, and it has proved that remote work is not only possible, but it can be productive and efficient. Now we have increased, organizations have increasingly adopted hybrid models or even full remote world models. And then this is based on flexibility and employee preference, right? And then remote work has often also driven companies to develop policies around home office setups, digital security, and virtual team building activities. Now, hiring is less limited by location, and of course, this broadens talent pools and enables more inclusive practices. Then another accelerated trend post-COVID is leverage on data and analytics. Now we begin to hear data analysis, different trainings on data analytics. I mean, this came up after the COVID crisis. As remote work and digital engagement increased, so did the opportunity for gathering data. Organizations now rely heavily on data analytics to monitor productivity, predict project success, and even assess employee engagement. Analytics also it can be used for more informed decision making, tracking of health and well-being, even personalization of training and development. And it has come to stay in most organizational processes. Then we have another accelerated trend, which is the greater role of the employer as a social safety net. So, with COVID-19 impacting health and job stability, many employees turn to employers for support. Employers now have had to respond by expanding benefits to include mental health services, flexible work options, and different wellness programs. Some companies even have started providing assistance with housing, health insurance, and family care. This expanded role strengthens employer loyalty and engagement as workers view employers as partners in their well-being. Going forward, a lot of organizations, most organizations that prioritize holistic support are most likely to have a competitive advantage in retention and recruitment. Another accelerated trend we have observed post COVID is the wider use of contingent workers. The uncertainty during the COVID period, as the pandemic, led a lot of organizations to rely more on gig workers, freelancers and contractors, enabling flexibility to scale resources either up or downward. This change accelerated the gig economy, which had been even before then, but it accelerated the occurrences of this kind of situations with platforms that easily connect organizations to independent professionals for specific tasks or projects. The rise of contingent workforce also reduces the labor costs and through it comes with its own challenges, which relate to compliance, training, integration. Now, this is a trend that is expected to continue even as businesses seek adaptability without the long-term commitment of traditional employment. Another accelerated trend we have observed post-COVID is the adaptation of the nature of employment. A lot of companies are rethinking traditional employment structures, with many of them moving away from rigid job descriptions towards a more fluid role that evolve based on skills and project needs. This shift emphasizes skill versatility and allows employees to contribute in various capacities rather than being confined to a single role. Training programs now focus on reskilling, upskilling, and equipping employees with adaptable skills for changing job demands. Additionally, flexible hours and customized work arrangements are also becoming the norm, making work more aligned with individual lifestyles and needs. Now, these are some of the accelerated trends that have been noticeable post COVID. Now we'll be moving on to speak on the pendulum swings. Yeah. Now the concept of the pendulum swing reflects the shift in priorities and practices post COVID, and this highlights how these different shifts. It highlights how these different shifts has become essential to our current workspace. Firstly, is the resilience. Is resilience as critical as efficiency? Resilience has become very critical, and then it's while efficiency has long been the cornerstone of successful operation, the pandemic underscored resilience as equally, if not more, vital. Resilience equips organizations to endure shocks, adapt quickly to disruption, and continue operations under adverse conditions. Today's work environment demands systems that are not only optimized for productivity, but are also very broad or robust enough to withstand sudden changes, and companies that emphasize resilience invest in flexible infrastructure, digital tools, and workforce well-being. Another swift shift is the increased complexity. The post-COVID landscape is marked by a significant increase in complexity across all facets of business, from technology adoption to workforce management. Then we have hybrid work environments, which also requires complex coordination between in-office and remote teams. And this has necessitated new communication tools and protocols. Remote workforce mean that organizations have to manage multiple time zones, diverse cultures, and various legal regularization. So, these different complexities now has posed a challenge to organizations or companies to navigate them while still maintaining simplicity and focus. Now, another swift change is the dynamic organizational culture. Now, the pandemic catalyzed a shift toward a more dynamic, value-driven organization culture. Remote work blurred the boundaries between professional and personal life, making it necessary for companies to prioritize empathy, flexibility, inclusivity. Now, this dynamic culture involves continuously changing practices that keep employees engaged and aligned with the organization's mission, regardless of where they are working. Now, another pendulum swing we would not take note of is the evolving value proposition. Organizations or employees today are looking for more than just a paycheck, right? And they seek a full well-being and opportunities for personal and professional growth. Long are the days where when you want to go for an interview, gone are the days where when you go for an interview, the organization tends to ask you what you will bring to the table. Now we begin to hear questions from the candidates. They are the ones asking what the organizations intends bringing to the table in terms of what the organization, how the organization would be of benefit to them, right? So we have value proposition from the employee side, we have value proposition from the employer side. And a lot of organizations are beginning to shape their value propositions to be more employee centered, integrating aspects like mental health support, flexibility, learning opportunities, and social impact. Companies are also differentiating themselves by offering a more transparent approach to career growth, ensuring employees see a path forward in their roles. Businesses are also emphasizing sustainability and social responsibility, recognizing that these values resonate with both employees and customers themselves. This holistic approach to value proposition not only attracts top talent, but also strengthens loyalty and also community impact. Yeah, so moving on to the next slide, we will be speaking about the new impacts. What has come to stay, what is presently being maintained post-COVID. Now, post-COVID, the future of work is marked by a shift in the types of skills required and a rethinking of traditional organizational structures. Now, these key changes include skills that transcend roles and the layering of all these hierarchical tiers that are usually obtained in the traditional approach or the traditional sphere, both of which drive greater flexibility, innovation, and agility. So we'll speak about the first mentioned here, which is the critical skills, which is no longer synonymous with roles. In a post-COVID world, skills have become more valuable than job titles, and critical skills are now viewed as transferable across various roles. A lot of emphasis are now beginning to be placed on soft skills, right? A lot of emphasis are now beginning to place on soft skills. Here you begin to see a person who studied biology being a product manager, a person who studied Yoruba language, skilling up to become a tech pro, or a developer. So things have changed. It's no longer critical skills are no longer synonymous with roles. Then as seen, universal competencies uh, are, are, um, are no longer being tied to a specific role. For instance, we have data literacy, right? Skills such as data literacy, digital communication skills, problem solving skills, resilience skills, emotional intelligence skills. These are now skills that a lot of organizations are looking out for, regardless of whatever job title or whatever role they might eventually play in the organization. Now, we move on to the layering of typical tiers. The layering of typical tiers. So this has to do with flattening organizational structures, and this has gained momentum as our companies seek faster decision making and a more collaborative work environment. Gone are the days in the traditional hierarchical structures, which has a lot of layers, multiple layers of management. And of course, this kind of structure would slow down decision making, and this cannot be sustainable in a fast-paced environment. Now, by reducing these layers, organizations would usually aim to enhance agility and speed, to respond to change, empower employees, empower employees to encourage a culture of autonomy, encourage collaboration across different levels, develop flexible leadership models as well. Because, of course, with fewer formal tiers, leadership becomes less about titles and more about the influence and the expertise. Organizations are beginning to adopt a project-based or agile team structure where employees rotate roles even, and they lead based on project needs rather than this hierarchical structure that has been during the traditional sphere. Leaders now act more as facilitators or even coaches, guiding and supporting the team rather than just directing them. So this is a new impact that is very much in existence in today's world. Then we have speed and digital transformation, and this is beginning to be very evident everywhere. Digital transformation has brought unprecedented speed to the workplace. AI, automation, the cloud computing, and of course, this requires organizations to adapt quickly to technological advancements. Moving on, we will be speaking about the global trends shaping the workplace landscape. Now, what are the trends? What are those major um, activities that are trending in the global landscape? Now, we have broken this down. We'll be speaking about the new behaviors that are noticeable, the new behaviors that are trending. We'll be speaking about the technologies. We'll be speaking about the workforce. We'll be speaking about mobility and globalization. Firstly, under the new workplace, under the new behaviors, we observe that the new workplace behavior are emerging, driven, and this is driven by the need for flexibility. It's driven by the need for flexibility, collaboration, and a greater focus on well-being. Now, new behaviors that have been noticed includes employees now prioritize work-life balance and they seek flexible schedules that allow them to manage personal and professional responsibilities effectively. Now, if you are trying to engage a new client, a new candidate, questions like, okay, work-life balance. A lot of candidates would rather work in a remote or hybrid work setting, such that it would help balance their uh, personal and professional life, rather than a fully on-site role. So these are very much prevalent right now, and of course, this helps. This is a flexible platform that helps with work-life balance. Now, we also notice that there's a significant emphasis on transparency, inclusivity, and purpose. Employees, especially the younger generations like these Gen Zs, want to work for companies that align with their values and are committed to diversity, equity, and environmental responsibility. It's no longer a question of um, it's no longer a question of how much candidates or employees are no longer looking for just a paycheck, right? Employees are now looking for organizations that would align with their own values. And then that also places emphasis on transparency, inclusivity, and purpose. Another noticeable behavior is that organizations now rethink policies around employee engagement, mental health, and career growth, which helps to foster a positive and supportive culture. Now, under technologies, which is also a very noticeable trend in our current global workspace, we have noticed, it's very much prevalent that technology is central to workplace transformation, with advancements driving efficiency, automation, and also reshaping job functions. Technologies such as AI and automation And then these repetitive tasks are increasingly being automated. And this allows employees to focus on more strategic tasks, creative work. AI assists with decision making by offering data insights and predictive analysis, driving productivity and informed choices. We begin to hear questions of, will AI take over my work? There are a lot of questions and discourses around how AI can possibly take over some person's work. But the truth remains that AI is going to be there for a very long time, and it would do a lot of supportive tasks within to a lot of roles and possibly take over some roles. However, it is very much important for each persona in each role to know how to utilize this AI, right? To know how to utilize this AI. There are some roles that will be taken over by AI, while there are some that AI would act as a support mechanism. So it is very important to, pay attention to this trend and embrace it and see how we can utilize AI and automation in our job functions. Now, another noticeable trend in the technology space is cloud computing and cloud computing, communication, and project management tools. And this has made it possible for employees to access files and work collaboratively from anywhere in the world. And of course, this has aided in supporting remote and hybrid work arrangements. Then we have virtual reality and augmented reality. VR and AR are opening new avenues in training, remote assistance, and even onboarding. These technologies make it very easy to train employees in stimulated environments or connect with remote teams in immersive ways. Technology isn't just a tool, it's an enabler that is fundamentally redefining job roles and responsibilities while allowing companies to innovate and also grow. Moving on, we'll be speaking about the third trend. This is the workforce. Now, millennials are the largest generation in the current workforce, and they are reshaping the workplace with their unique perspectives and values. Most of us in this session today are millennials, right? And this generation values meaningful work, flexibility, diversity, and opportunities for advancement. Now, some of the major things millennials look out for is desire for purpose-driven roles. Millennials are known for prioritizing purpose in their work. Organizations that have a very strong social or environmental mission are particularly attractive to this generation. Then we also have this emphasis on flexibility and work-life balance. This generation of the millennials and the Gen Zs pushes for work arrangements that support flexibility, including remote work and flexible hours, just to create a better work-life balance. And we also have this preference for development opportunities. Millennials want career growth and continuous learning, valuing roles where they can develop skills and gain new experiences. Now, training programs, mentorship, and clear career pathways are especially very valued by the millennial workforce. As millennials grow into leadership positions, their values are, you know, obviously influencing workplace policies and corporate culture, steering organizations towards greater transparency, inclusivity, and then adaptability. Another global trend is the workplace, is the mobility, right? The rise of mobile technology it has enabled unprecedented workplace mobility. And this has allowed employees to work from almost anywhere. This trend is amplified by remote work and hybrid models, right? And then so the concept of where work happens has been redefined by workplace mobility. Also, we also have this rise of gig economy. Mobility has enabled professionals to offer specialized skills on a project basis, and this has expanded the concept of talent acquisition beyond just the traditional thing, hiring, as companies can access skilled professionals globally for short-term needs. Then we also have the mobile devices, cloud platforms, and security advancements. This has allowed employees to work seamlessly from any location, keeping teams connected and productive. Now, mobility has come to stay in this global space. It's a trendy one, and different devices, different avenues, different mechanisms are being utilized to make this much more efficient. Moving on, we'll speak about globalization. Globalization has transformed the workplace by enabling organizations to operate across multiple geographies and cultures. And then this trend, the global nature of modern business brings both opportunities and challenges. Globalization has led to diverse and inclusive workplaces because we have different people working from different parts of the world. And then we also have challenges of cross-cultural communication. You have to train, provide trainings that would enable you to relate, and have a good understanding of different cultures, even while having work relationships. Then globalization has also led to 24/7 operation. And then a lot of organizations begin to work all day they tend to work all day because of different time zones. So they are active all through the day. Now, these trends are interwoven, each driving and amplifying the other. Together, they create a workplace that is, more flexible and adaptable than ever before. Now, we'll be speaking on how do we adapt. Now, these different trends that we've spoken about, these different occurrences here and there, how do we really adapt? So we'll be speaking on this as as an organization and as individuals. Okay, now enhancing workforce productivity. One way is by enhancing our workforce productivity. Now, since the pandemic, the workplace has shifted significantly, emphasizing self management skills as very essential for thriving in times of crisis. According to the World Health Forum, WEF, it was mentioned that 50% of all employees will require reskilling by 2025 to remain relevant and effective. I say it again, 50% of all employees will require reskilling by 2025 to remain relevant and effective. Organizations then must prioritize a structured approach to skill enhancement across multiple levels. We'll be speaking on different approaches to how this could be done. First is to design, develop, and deploy. This would help in enhancing employees. By designing here, we are creating tailored programs that align with both organizational goals and the individual employee needs. And this involves identifying the skill gap and then creating learning paths that support long-term growth. Then developing here refers to the focus on developing content and experiences that foster self-management skills, resilience and adaptability. This could include leadership training, emotional intelligence, and this relevant soft skills. Then to deploy here refers to implementing these programs at scale, leveraging digital platforms and tools for accessibility. Another method is by cross-skilling. Cross-skilling here means to gain knowledge, this enables employees to acquire knowledge across different areas, making them more versatile and able to fill multiple roles as needed. We can utilize job rotation to make this happen. Another measure here is upskilling. Upskilling means this focuses on deepening existing skills, right? It enables employees to gain more insights and expertise in their current roles. And this type of development is very important as technology and industry standards evolve. And just to ensure that employees remain competent and current. Then we have reskilling. Reskilling here means to build new skill sets, totally new skill sets, and the need for employees to acquire entirely new skill sets is very much important now, and especially for when roles evolve or new opportunities arise within the organization. Then another measure is the expert skilling interventions. And expert skilling here involves advanced targeted trainings for employees in highly specialized areas, helping them build an existing expertise and further enhance their competencies. This is suited for employees who already have a strong foundation in a specific role and are looking to achieve mastery in that field. Now, this is a measure. This all these measures itemized. All these measures itemized here would be of good value in enhancing workforce productivity. And then issues organizations would really need to pay attention to. The COVID-19 crisis has created an imperative for companies and individuals to reconfigure and transform. It has become very important to move from being reactive to proactive by building and institutionalizing certain practices. Um, Here are some of the mentioned ones that organizations will really need to pay attention to: flexible working environment, performance management of a digitalized workforce, mental health issues, effective management of geographical dispersed teams, telemedicine, personalizing customer experience, design thinking mindsets in driving organizational and change management, and improving digital omnichannel business models, optimizing talent pools, creating business continuity plans, and a great candidate experience. All of these mentions are concepts or discourses that organizations need to pay core attention to, as they are very much prevalent in this in the future of work. Now, moving on from there, we would speak about another approach to how we can adapt, and that is the 4H approach. The 4H approach is a holistic strategy for engaging and empowering the workforce, ensuring that employees are not only productive but also motivated, fulfilled, and also resilient. By addressing these four areas, organizations can create an environment that fosters optimal performance and well-being. These four areas are ED, and this focuses on intellectual development of the employees, and it just ensures that they have the knowledge, skills, tools needed to perform. Then organizations can implement training programs, it's to help boost this framework, And then we also have the arts. This is about tapping this is about tapping into the emotional and purpose-driven side of employees, right? Connecting their roles to the organization's mission and values. When employees feel a personal connection to their work, they are more motivated and committed. Then we also have hands. The hands here represents the practical, tangible aspect of work, including providing the right tools, resources, and support for employees to perform their roles efficiently. Then we have health. Health is essential for sustained productivity, encompassing both physical and mental well-being. This aspect focuses on creating a supportive environment that promotes a balanced, healthy lifestyle, and also provides resources for mental health support. Now, this 4H approach creates a well-rounded strategy for workforce optimization in the modern world. Then another framework to which we can utilize in adapting to this modern world is the LACE framework. The LACE framework is okay, as organizations navigate change over the past year, the LACE framework has been created to help businesses to perform more efficiently and to respond to a rapidly changing VUCA business environment. Now, we noticed here that in this slide that we have the VUCA and the LACE. The LACE framework is an offshoot of VUCA, and then LACE here means learn, adapt, collaborate, and experiment. By training the learn here means to train, to build, to gain knowledge, right? And organizations must enhance new ways of thinking and doing by adopting active and continuous learning. Innovation is a social Innovation is a social phenomenon that can be learned, and there's this need for a culture of curiosity that needs to be developed, right? So we need to be very organizations will need to foster or work on the concept of learning, build up on continuous learning schemes. Another mention here under the LACE framework is to adapt, right? Organizations must be able to transform at the speed of change in a way that develops long-term resilience, not just short-term survival. This means developing increased flexibility and a deeper focus on customer centricity is needed just to evolve the core business and to create growth. And another need is to collaborate, right? Complexity definitely calls for collaboration. And then in this increasingly complex world, organizations need to see how they can collaborate. And this is not far-fetched. You could remember during the COVID period, there was this race to create effective and safe COVID-19 vaccines. And this triggered partnerships between different competitors around, they had to unite to around a common purpose. We had Sanofi and GSK having this kind of collaboration. So, in this kind of modern world, organizations need to see the need to collaborate to achieve this common purpose. And lastly is experiment. Experiments here refers to taking risks by rethinking value creation, making sense of what is available, such as data, learning by doing, embracing new technology to create value, and looking at problems through different lenses. I mean, this is very crucial to succeed in this VUCA world. Now, by asking the right questions and actively working to develop this four framework, we will gradually nurture and acquire the culture and tools to VUCA-proof our organization. The emerging new culture will in turn foster individuals and teams capable of withstanding the increasing speed of change and the unknown on a day on a daily basis. And so this is another framework that can be utilized in our in the modern world. So here is the language of the new normal. And this majorly speaks to how individuals can adapt. So we had spoken about how organizations can adapt. Value is the language of the new normal. And really, to truly excel in the future of work, it is essential to become a person of exceptional value. This means embodying qualities that make you not only adaptable but invaluable, as value is now the defining measure of success in the new normal. Becoming a person of value, you need to have a mindset of lifelong learning. The future belongs to the curious. By embracing a mindset of continuous learning, you are not just staying where you are, you are moving forward to gaining more. A person of value must cultivate unmatched adaptability, you know, in a world where change is the only constant change is the only constant thing, resilience and agility are the strongest assets to have. A person of value must lead with deep purpose and integrity. People of value bring more than just skills, they bring a sense of mission. A person of value must master collaboration and emotional intelligence. High emotional intelligence and empathy are now very essential in the collaborative workspace that we are in. A person of value must be digitally fluent and tech savvy. I mean, this is very important. With digital transformation, redefining every field, those who cannot seamlessly leverage technology are at a distinct disadvantage. they have a distinct advantage. Then we have demonstrate resilience and vision. The new landscape requires not only responding to change, but anticipating it. People of value must look ahead, connecting trends and insights with actionable strategies. They have to be resilient, forward-looking, forward-thinking, and then you may utilize forward-looking approach that positions both themselves and their teams for success in the long run. I would say with these mentions, the future of work is what we are speaking about, but then we are in the new normal. Presently, we are in that future of work, which is the new normal. And for us to be able to succeed in the new normal, these are some of the these mentions are some of the things we need to adapt to. In conclusion, I would be finishing up my session with this quote. We cannot rewrite the chapters of history already past, but we can learn from them, evolve, and adapt. The new normal may even be a better normal, certainly a different normal. Thank you, everyone. It's a good time to ask your questions if there are. Over to you, Chris.
Thank you, Darren. Great work here. I celebrate you. Well done for taking us through that. Going through the session, I believe, yeah, like you have concluded, this is no longer the future, right? We are already in that future, and the earlier organizations adapt to these current realities, the better, they'll save, the better they'll save their clients and as well retain top talent within the organization. This session, has not just been an eye opener, but you have done justice to proferring solutions, right? The strategies to help organizations adapt seamlessly to the new normal. So well done on that insightful session, Darren.
Thank you.
You're welcome. In the absence of questions, we can now bring the session to an end. And if you have questions while watching the video, kindly drop them in the comment section. We'll be very happy to answer your questions. Join us next time for another session of the Launch and Learn series. And do have a lovely day.